there. Welcome to Commontary Episode 3. That's me on the left, color commentary Matt, and then Aaron Rubin is there on the right. We're continuing our series. This is going to be Boros Monarch versus Izzet Delver. We still have not made some of the video recording suggestions you made, namely players don't really show their hands. We'll get to that next time. But we will have the new stream overlay by the time you're watching this. Thank you so much for your work on that, Mike.
Yeah, glad to be upping the production quality on this. All right, so this is one of the sort of grindy, complicated matchups within Pauper. Who do you think there's actually a deck that's favored in this matchup?
I'm not sure. I've talked about it with Aaron at length, and I think that there are draws. I think it's very... It feels very draw dependent. Like sometimes you'll draw a ton of great things as the Boros player, and sometimes you'll just draw Gush as the Izzet Delver player. And this is one of the few matches where I actually board out the Monarch card because it's actually really bad against Delver. So I think main deck you're a little bit less favored.
Yeah, now that Monarch's moved away from the more tokens in the air sort of plan, it feels really miserable. Like they can steal it away pretty quickly.
Well, I'm on the play. I play a Galen for my first card. Aaron leads off with a Delver. So this is the nightmare scenario for me. Sorry, I'm like texting someone during this part. But yeah, that's like a pretty bad scenario for me where I am playing a tap land and then Aaron just has a turn 1 Delver. Because now I like have to kill the Delver or I have to choose between putting in like a 3-bit Inspector or something.
Yeah, it's not the ideal start for this match, but I think it's recoverable. It's not, you know, everything is doom and gloom out the gate. All right, so let's see if you can't put together something here that starts dealing with this threat before it becomes an issue, because this can very quickly become an issue. Okay, 3-bit Inspector.
Yeah, but I wish I had had a turn 1. You know?
Yeah.
That's part of the weakness of the deck. Not getting out my Monarch token, getting out my Clue token.
And it definitely the tap lands are sort of a
Delver, or Galvanic Blast the Delver.
All right, that gets you back into this game here. That does actually help out, but this Augur is going to be a big old road bump for you.
Yeah, here goes a Preordain. So not the, you know, it definitely helps him out a lot. He was able to replace the card, didn't whiff, and now has a great follow-up for his next turn. So I play a Prophetic Prism, trigger, draw a card. That's pretty good for me. I now have some better mana fixing. And then I play a Forgotten Cave, which is actually a pretty bad sign for me. Forgotten Cave is just... I don't want to be playing that. I'm going to be cycling it.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know... You play it when you have to, but you'd prefer not to. You do have Metalcraft online reasonably early, so those Gav Blasts are live for the full 4, which is nice. But... We'll see what you got here. I'm guessing Journey.
I have a Journey, but Aaron is representing Counterspell.
All right. And doesn't take the bait. All right. Yep, so Delver's gone, and
I feel like that's how I win here. So again, playing a cycle lane, a lane I would rather be cycling. Not the greatest.
Yeah, this is just rough to watch. You're hitting all the lands that you'd prefer not to at this point in the game. But
I'm still doing okay. You know, my board is getting developed. I have the Prism. I have 3-bit Inspector. I'm at 4 mana, so next turn I could easily play a Battle Screech or the Monarch if I happen to have that. Although, because on this board, Monarch would be pretty good if it resolved. Aaron didn't counter me getting rid of the Delver, so he might not have a counterspell. Although he is going to get to shuffle and Preordain here.
Yep, and this is, you know, not going to get him immediately back into it. That looked like both on top.
Yeah, it was top, so that's a pretty bad sign. Take my draw for the turn. And...
That said, I like your position here because you're at least forcing Aaron to play the defensive game here.
Which is why I think Skyfisher is good, because he kind of has to counter it.
Yeah, you're forcing his hand on like actually interacting with you on the stack, and
I've got another one, so
yeah, with the backup, it was a no-brainer. That just, you know, is pretty much optimal for that situation.
Aaron casts Le Ponder.
Yeah, Ponder just digging, trying to find some more threats or at least something to be able to block your creatures.
Well, he's got the Augur, but you're right. He can't block me in the air.
Yeah, he just needs to be doing something here. Right now, he's kind of just spinning his wheels with cantrips. So the sooner you can draw into some actual action.
He plays an island. He passes the turn. Take my draw.
Going right to combat. To you.
Takes 2. And then I recast my prism.
Yep. And starting to get that engine online. Hit land for turn. Vial. Yep.
And I kind of, I mean, I didn't really mistap because I have the prism in play. Aaron goes ahead and bolts my creature. But to some opponents, you know, maybe, I don't know. So Aaron has Gush. Aaron gushes. That's insane here. He's got 2 blue mana floating. He draws 2 cards. And, like, this is how he gets back in the game. Gush is just so powerful.
Yeah, because he's going to have access to a full 6 mana here. And just drew into 2 more cards. That's...
He preordains and bottoms both those. That's good for me.
Yeah, it's just... He still has 5 mana at his fingertips this turn. This is...
He has another Augur. That's actually very strong here because I only have the
single
Spectre
blocker.
out. He gets a preordain, pretty good. And on my turn, I cycle a land, which is what I wanted to do with the other ones. So the fine thing is you can play them, and you can always bounce them later. So, you know, it's not the worst.
It's not the worst, but it's definitely not indicative of, like, one of the faster starts that Monarch can have. It's definitely a deck that plays a lot of tapped lands, so it sometimes is a little slow.
Yeah, and you can see the counterspell there in Aaron's hand. So no matter what I do, he has the opportunity of getting rid of it.
That said, is his list running more than 4 hard counters?
I don't think so. I don't think he even has Dispel in the sideboard. I think he just has the 4 counter spells. Oh, but I get serrated arrows, and it does it resolve?
I mean, right now on this current
counterspell, he's thinking about whether or not he uses this to resolve.
On this current board, it's not doing much besides blending the attack. But yeah, you're gonna bait out the counterspell with that. That makes sense. That card is problematic for Delver.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a bait. That card is very strong against him. So if he doesn't have the counterspell, he's already used one at this point.
Oh, thinking about it,
So,
going for the preordain first.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure you know, like we're friends, so we do allow some like take backsies and stuff like that's fine, you know, whatever.
Yeah, this is
Per tour this ain't.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is friends having fun playing Magic. That looks like both on the bottom there. So he's seen at this point a large chunk of his deck.
Yeah, and he has another Ponder.
Jeez,
So yeah, he's just digging for what I don't know, but he's digging for something. Because he's got the ground covered, he might be looking for a way to help him actually win the game. Like to get like a ninja online would be good. To get a fairy in play is very good. Now he's representing Spellstarter Sprite, but he does not have counterspell up. So if I have a very good 4 mana costing spell, I could probably resolve it this turn.
Even a 3-drop will get through.
So I leave with the Inspector. I mean, I might have been dumb to play that. That's probably dumb of me to play that there, but because I didn't need to play into that. And instead I have a Battle Screech.
All right, so Screech is going to help you build out a board that is going to be problematic for the Delver player.
Yeah, Screech is very good versus him.
I do quite like those bird tokens. Are those secretary birds?
I don't know. They're from original Magic Art, though.
They are. All right.
My Clue token is as well.
All right.
My Monarch token.
So we're getting into this like funky little board stall, and
he's got a ninja here.
Almost assuredly.
Yeah, because and a ninja is very strong here. Oh, and I even tapped 2. He must have told me. Oh no, he doesn't have a ninja. He just
wow.
2. All right, all right, cool.
I mean, those are bad blocks, and that does kind of feel like a point where you'd have a ninja because you're offering up such a clearly bad block that
I probably should have blocked.
There's an argument to be made for that, but if you block those, like,
I should have blocked.
He's going to be able to get something in the next turn if you block with both of those.
I attack for 2, and then I try and resolve another Battle Screech. And at this point, it doesn't matter.
Ooh,
if I don't
boy.
resolve Battle Screech, I can still flash it back, right? So it's actually pretty good for me.
Oh boy, so that's 2 more tokens, and I have to assume it's getting flashback, right?
Yeah. Trying to represent my birdies here.
And that is quite the Air Force out of almost nowhere. So
Yeah, those are my only 2 copies in the deck. Aaron Cycles and Ash Barons. Grabbing a second mountain, so he is representing 2 burn spells here. And then I get to untap with my Bird Swarm. My 2 4/4 birds. It's hard to keep track of that many permanents.
yeah, I've got to imagine at this point that you're a little bit favored in this matchup, just because you're going to be able to trade for so many of his things. Getting in again with those augurs, and there's still no ninja.
Gain a life. Swing for 8.
Yeah, I was going to say probably don't want to quite swing with all of them.
Yeah. Drop my die.
All right, so trading for 2 of the tokens. He's definitely on the back foot here.
I decide whether or not I want to let him attack. I think I do. Oh. He spreads my
3-bit Inspector. That's the thing. This deck has a lot of spot removal and just doesn't line up well against this. All right, finally we've got a ninja.
But I got a bolt. He's got a spell stutter. But
You got the
I
bolt?
got a galvanic blast. He's got a counter spell. What a battle.
Yep. And it looks like he still has 2 in hand.
That was a big turn. Yeah, I have nothing.
That said, you do also just have a 2-turn clock on him if you really need.
I make it so spell stutter sprite cannot block. I attack for 6. Bold. Why would I do that?
Well, it requires that he leave back that flyer, but
I just don't know if that matters here.
yeah. All right, Augur.
I think that was actually pretty bad.
Augur grabs a bolt. So he at this point Aaron is safe for another turn unless you rip burn off the top.
Yeah,
he's going to survive.
I think it was a terrible play. The more I think about it.
All right, 2 ninjas online. It looks like he could claw his way back into this. He's gonna need to find a way to deal with those flyers, but he's not just dead here. Oh, and I wish I could see what you had in hand here. Oh, this is so stressful.
Sorry, I don't know.
Core Skyfisher.
Maybe I'll claw my way out of this too. Bounce a land.
Bouncing the land to cycle it. It is a little bit cheaper than replaying the prism. Just cycling through here, trying to find some action.
That's probably why I did do it that way. You're right. All right, try and get in for 6.
So he can block.
Pre-combat.
He can block 1.
Right.
And that keeps him at 1.
Right.
So do you have 2? Do you have 2 burn spells in hand?
Yeah.
Just 2 burn spells. Is that what we got? No.
1 Glint Hawk.
Returning the prism. Replaying the prism. You still have Aaron dead on board next turn.
That is true.
There is no Wrath of God in this format. There's no way he
And
can...
he doesn't have Electrickery in his main deck.
Even with Electrickery, he's still dead in the air.
That's true. But he's brainstorming, so his odds of drawing out in that case would be not bad. But that's neither here nor there. So he bolts my core.
All right. Still got 7 points of damage coming at him next turn. Like, what are the outs here? They've got to be really limited. Like,
Taps 2 blue, augers. Yeah.
like it's got to be something like miscreant, miscreant, miscreant for him to even that doesn't do it. Even that doesn't give him enough blockers. There's to be like miscreant, miscreant, bolt, bolt. And
Yeah, let's see. He's got a preordain.
Preordain is none of those.
I mean, you can still have it. He's got a spell stutter. I can see that. Taps a blue. There's another ponder. So yeah, you're right. Now that line is sort of off the table.
I was gonna say I think we're at the point where he's tapped down low enough where I don't think there's a line out for him.
I've got another Glen Hawk in my hand. It looks like.
Oh,
Scred.
Scred.
I mean, that's pretty good, but I think he's just dead now. You're right.
Representing that electrickery here just to maybe psych you out.
Yeah, he's got nothing. So
all right,
we'll go to the next game. So I'm looking to bring in cards like Pyroblast. I'm looking to bring in. I have an extra electrickery. I'm looking to take out all my Monarch cards. Aaron has his own electrickeries that he's going to be bringing in against me. Maybe Stormbound Geist. So he's going to be looking to stop my air plan. And yeah.
So I was going to ask, do you keep in the Screeches here? Just
Yes.
knowing that he's going to be bringing that in, and he is the deck that's better at digging to it.
Screech is extremely good versus Delver. Even though they're playing Electrickery, that's like a clean 1-for-1. But that's, Electrickery is a 1-for-1. It's kind of the best it gets, right? Most Electrickeries are for way more than that. So, and you can even break them into 2 parts if you think that they have it. But yeah, Battle Screech is very, very strong against Blue-Red Delver because most of their flyers are actual creatures, not tokens. So you can easily, on a good board, you can maybe even get a lot more value out of it. And as you saw, it was able to take over that last game, even though he had 2 flyers out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was just wondering about the fact that
it's also like very difficult to counterspell.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It does not get spell stutter spreaded easily, so that is a big point in its favor. Is there anything else you're looking to bring in besides the obvious Pyroblasts?
Firebolt's probably not good enough because it's a sorcery. I have my own Electrickeries. I think I mentioned that. I do have an extra Prismatic Strands in my sideboard, but I'm probably taking that out just because I think that card is mostly in there to protect Monarch, and without Monarch, I think that card gets a lot worse.
Yeah. So I do think it's interesting that against the blue tempo / sometimes control deck, you're siding into something that like it's interesting that even while it sometimes plays the more controlling role in a game, it is still very much a deck that turns dudes sideways. So your Monarch does seem abysmal in this matchup. It seems like it's just going to get stolen, and even if you get it back, your opponent's going to be getting just as much use out of it as you. So, all right. Shuffling up here.
Yep, ready for a game the second. Here on episode 3 of Commontary, Adrian versus Aaron. We'll have that overlay for you, so I probably keep reminding you. Doing the second set of these was very interesting. I think we all expected a lot more out of ourselves, which was kind of interesting. I got some new players who weren't at the first recording there. Jake and Ian came, so that was pretty fun.
Any sort of hints for the fans at home as to spicy things they might be seeing?
It's a lot spicier than Izzet Delver versus Boros Monarch, I'll tell you that. We decided that we'll let people play whatever jink they want to play. Aaron taking a mulligan to 6 here.
All right. So you're looking here to be the more aggressive deck in this matchup? Or do you think that you're still both playing a sort of mid-rangey sort of clock?
I'm definitely the control deck. I do not have Delver. I'm like as if Aaron lands a Delver and then I can't deal with it, he'll win that game. So and I don't have a creature that Aaron just immediately has to answer like that. You know what I mean? Core Skyfisher is fine, but it's way more of a value card. Delver is just like, if he can stick the Delver and then I can't deal with it very well, it could win the game.
That's all fair points.
That be, I try and I think outvalue him. I think our value engines are very similar, but my creatures by and large are bigger than his in the air, so I can play a very good defensive game. I think we have about equal amounts of burn. I'm not 100% sure what his split is between burns and bolts and screds, and I'm able to lead off on a turn 1 Graven Inspector, which is pretty strong. It's the best one drop in the deck. It might be the only. Yeah, the rest is all burn spells. Aaron has an island, and then he cycles for an island, signaling to me he probably already has the mountain, or he has no red cards.
I was gonna say that's the only way I could read that. All right, so Augur here taking a peek, grabbing a Preordain.
I think every time he's augured, he's hit a Preordain. That card is just insane.
I mean, Augur is good at what it does. It's good at digging you into stuff in this deck that digs you into more stuff.
Take my draw, figure out what land to play. Looks like I have a Radiant Fountain. Not great unless I have a Prismatic Strands. Okay, this is actually extremely bad. Me needing to Journey and Augur is that he was able to get a card off of is really terrible. So
yeah,
kind of wondering why I did that. A reason for me to do that might be that I have a Core Skyfisher in my hand and I can get it back later. And I don't really care about this right now. Or maybe I'm also stopping a Ninja.
Huh. Yeah, I mean that is a possibility. Oh, countering the Alchemist Vial. That's interesting.
I bounce that back to my hand. I get in for 1. Yeah, I think so as well. Well, and I didn't play a land first, so maybe that's the reason to do that.
I mean, he could be trying to mise a few percentage points there, but I mean, you also aren't presenting a real efficient clock here at all. Like, even if you can stick a Skyfisher soon, you're still like relatively slow in the great scheme of things.
And it's kind of paid off. He has no other creature out, and I'm just able to get in, 3 free points of damage with this Thraben Inspector. So that's not bad. That's fine.
It's a white lightning bolt.
Gain a life. Cast Thraben Inspector. He's got a Spell Stutter. Do I have a response? I do not. So that's actually pretty bad. Spell Stutter is obviously great against Thraben Inspector. I have a Journey to Nowhere. So yeah, I'm really just trying to keep him off creatures here. And the Thraben Ninja that turn was actually much higher.
Yeah, just because, man.
So I don't mind that. Another Le Ponder.
Gotta wonder what his hand looks like at this point. Like, do you think it's mostly counter spells, or what is possibly going on here?
Yeah, there's the mountain, so I was right. He had that. So now he plays out a creature I actually want to answer, but I have already spent all my removal on. So that seems like a kind of a punt from me. Tap for a white, cycle Secluded Step. That's fine. We know I have the gain 2 land in my hand, which is I'm not playing that Secluded Step probably at any point.
All right, going in the tank here.
Yeah.
What do we have? All right, land for turn.
Fountain. And then do I just have, it looks like I'm just trying to slam a Battle Screech. Aaron has the opportunity to counter. It is a strong counter here. It doesn't get better than this for him to counter it because I cannot flash it back right now. So that's actually pretty good, but I think I had to go for it. That's a great way for me to fight that Delver if it's able to resolve. And I'm able to, because half of that card trades for the Delver. That's pretty good for me. Aaron flips, unfortunate. Gets in for 3. So yeah, so this is what this is what I was talking about, and now I regret not having the other stuff. So he looks like he's gonna ninjutsu in that. So that's actually fine. That's a bad for him. He missed out on a point of damage. He has the Delver again, but he'll be able to off of this Ponder.
I mean, the drawing the card might be what he values more here. Like, Delver is going to flip again, especially with this Ponder. So he's not losing as much, I think, in this situation. And it does get him that Ninja for cheap, so... Alright.
Rips his card.
Yep.
Is down. He has another island.
Ooh,
passes
not
the
replaying
turn.
the Delver. Interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder what he's holding up.
I
What do you
mean,
think?
I'm seeing some sort of 2-mana counter magic and a 1-mana counter spell.
That must be it. I didn't think he had any dispels. I think he
He
had
could have
Vapor Snags.
Hydroblast.
He could have Hydroblast. That's a good call.
Either one of those is like not super impactful, but
Gain a life. I'm in trouble. If I can't kill this ninja, I'm in trouble.
and so that might put you right on the money for Vapor Snag. Ooh, and passing the turn.
I can't remember if he's running it or not. I'm sure I could have looked at his deck list one more time before the match, but it's more fun this way.
All right, so cycling Ash Barrens. Now, in doing that, unless he has another cantrip, he's not going to be able to set up that Delver for next turn.
Uh-huh. Poor dog.
Yeah, my dog here is inconsolable because a bag moved in the room.
Getting him for 2. For those, I'm sure there are folks out there who love Georgie. So, people pointed out my cat appearing in the video last time, which is pretty goofy. Bad for me. So he draws his card off of the ninja.
With 6 mana, he's gotta be doing something here, right? Like, oh, this looks like a Stormbound Geist.
Yeah, which would be very bad for me.
Yup.
So I gotta try and Pyroblast. He has a Spell Stutter.
Oh boy, this is
And
not
now, like,
not where you want to
now-
be.
Now I really wish I had those Journey to Nowheres because they're much better against these cards. Draw my card for turn. And yeah, this is a very bad spot for me to be in. He's got a bunch of things I can't block. I have not been able to deal with them. So we were talking about this earlier. This is like the nightmare scenario. I was unable to answer his threats.
Yeah, and at this point, they're just kind of building up more and more. So it's not going to get better from here.
No, this is the nightmare scenario.
Getting in?
I'm not blocking the ninja. I can't block the other 2 creatures.
You might also just have a core Skyfisher here.
That's true. In which case, I would probably want to bounce a Journey. Yeah. So the Spell Starter Sprite's safer because he doesn't get a spell. It just enters. It doesn't trigger. I overload an Electrickery. What a saucy little minx I am. I know there is the Dispel that I swore he did not have.
All right, and I've got to imagine that this is coming down for, the
So
Stormbound.
I can block the rest of his creatures now. So that was actually a pretty good turn for me. The Electrickery was a cool line. I'm sad it didn't work. That could have been a really fun line. And this is the end. He gets a Gush. He has more creatures than I do. So if he gets a Scred, yeah, now my guy is gone. So yeah, this is the turn where Aaron, that's the power of that Gush card.
Yeah, just getting in for 4 here, drawing a card. This is quickly.
I'm so much worse off before than I was now. Like you can see, he's just slamming down the cards. He knows he's got me here. I have an Alchemist Vial, pretty anemic. Just trying to find something. I got a Glint Hawk. I can bounce the Vial. Looks like I have my other Electrickery in my hand. In which case, I might have wanted to just cast that here instead. But looks like
Oh, nope. Doesn't look like there was one in hand.
I think it probably was correct trying to overload that Electrickery. Oh, I'm flashing back Battle Screech. So maybe I think I probably value just developing my board more there. But look, he flips a Delver off of Gush. So in retrospect, perhaps the other card would have been more valuable. I could have 3-for-1'd him and still had, pretty decent stuff. But so maybe that was a misplay on my part.
Now, that said, you did manage to get a decent-sized board out of not having much to begin with.
I'm also much higher on life than he is, which I think is pretty relevant.
Yeah, bouncing that that Radiant Fountain a couple times and hitting those gain lands will do that for you.
So I could choose double block his Delver here. If he has a Scred and he's positioning his mana, you know, make it look like to me he does. I could double block the Delver. If I do and he has the Scred, he can trade the Scred for one of my birds instead. I'm not sure if that's really what he would want to do. It looks like I just take everything. I do have a pretty nice life advantage right now. Well, not anymore, but I was at 18, so I can take a hit or two here. Try and find something a little bit better, set myself up into a better position.
All right, Vile comes down one more time. Bouncing that Radiant Fountain we were just talking about. And what do we have? Serrated Arrows. If he's got a counterspell, it's coming out now.
And at this point, this is better than trying to play out the Electrickery, because at this point, he needs counterspell. Okay, it looks like it resolves. He would need actual counterspell. So, I'm actually kind of in an okay spot here again. We're sure we're down on resources, but I've got Serrated Arrows, which single-handedly won me some of my previous games in this series, and is just extremely good here. So he untaps, takes his draw. Casts another Augur. That's pretty bad for me, because he could probably find another burn spell here.
Now, do you feel like at this point the game is already decided, or do you think that there's an out for you here?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know. It seems like I could still win.
Like the second Battle Screech certainly helps. I'm just not sure if there's like another component you'd need here to make sure that you can actually pull together a win. Aaron going in the tank a little bit here. Bolt one of the big birds. Ooh, just passing, no attacks. And killing one of the spell stutters. That seems
yeah, it's tough for him to attack here.
Yeah. I mean, you just have so many things you could trade for that Delver. I totally see why he would just stay back. Oh, just passing the turn over with a land drop. Starting to get a little bit of a grind on here.
Yeah. He has no real good attacks. I have no real good attacks, but I do have the arrows.
Yeah, those arrows.
That's pretty good, because I can 2-for-1 him on the arrows, get rid of the spell stutter. So I guess that's really more of a 1-for-1 because he countered a spell with those. Or I could put a -1/-1 counter on the Delver and then block it with one of my flyers, which it looks like I'm going to do. Yep. And then, yeah, I put a -1/-1 counter on it. So that gets around Ninja. That plays around Ninja. That gets rid of his biggest flyer, the only one that can actually block me. So that's pretty good. Might have another burn spell in hand. I gained 2, so I'm you know, it could really go either way at this point. He's been able to draw a ton of cards off those gushes, though.
Yeah, I mean, Gush does what it does. It gets you just raw cards, and when those cards draw you into other stuff that you actually need, or they are just the things you need, it's very easy for that card to run away with the game.
He swings out, so I think my best line is probably to put a -1/-1 counter on the Ninja and then block it, which it looks like is what I'm going to do. Yeah, I think cashing in my Serrated Arrows here is good. And he has another one, so that's unfortunate. Yep. And I have a Bolt.
Oh, and this looks like a counterspell of some type. It looks like a spell stutter, yep.
Yep, I think it was still correct to go for that there.
Shame that those arrows are not going to get to be reused, but...
Yep, it is pretty unfortunate.
All right, so... Aaron got anything else here for the turn? Nope, just passing it over. That dies on upkeep, and...
Now I have no cards in my hand, so I'm in bad... I think now I'm in bad shape. The arrows is really what was holding me on there.
Yeah, if you'd been able to get into Core Skyfish or something like that, you would have been able to get a lot more mileage out of those, but... Alright, 2 mana. There comes that Augur. Oh, and scooping it up. Yeah. I mean, at that point, the outs had to be narrowing at that point. Alright, so we've got one last game here. And after...
I'm going to be on the play, so that's good.
Yep.
Sorry, ask your question.
I was gonna say, after seeing what we saw that game, I mean... I think that game really came down to the fact that your removal came out early and it just didn't sort of persist, and he managed to stick enough difficult creatures. Is there any other removal in the board that could be brought in for this, or?
Pyroblast and Electricity. That's really those are really the cards I want to bring in. Yeah, because I have a main deck Electricity and a main deck Serrated Arrows.
Oh, geez. Is there not another Serrated Arrows in the board, by any chance?
One of the main is plenty. There's a lot of Delver, and there's a lot of Tribe. Well, there's one Tribe player. He's very good. Garrett, you saw him on this series. He likes to play Tribe quite a bit. He's actually a little scared to play Tribe on camera because he wants to do really well with it when he does. So everyone, pour your hearts out for Garrett to play Tribe, because I know you guys want to see it. He's very good. He's a very good Tribe player. So Serrated Arrows is very good against him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Serrated Arrows is just and Electric have just become acceptable as main deck options.
It's good. It's good at Pats. I did play against Tron last week, and I did draw both of them, and I got crushed. But you know, I lost a sideboard game to Tron where I had literally everything I needed to win. So it's a bad matchup. Aaron taking a mulligan here. It looks like.
All right.
And me keeping on 7. Or
all right,
did he mulligan?
Yeah, I think he did. I think I saw the full 7 there. All right, so you've kept on 7. So I'm imagining that you either have a decent chunk of card draw or some early interaction.
So what I'm looking for is either burn is good, but what I'm also looking for is so Aaron keeps. I'm looking for either a turn 1 tap land. Oh, that's the worst turn 1 tap land. I'm looking for a turn 1 gain land or a turn 1 Thraben Inspector. So that's actually a very weak sign for me to be casting. Okay, well, that's a little bit more acceptable. That's still not a great start.
No, it's not the most anemic, but like, it's not inspiring huge confidence here.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 mana, Prism, resolves. You take your card.
And now, like, I'm really trying to find a different land here. I don't want to have to play that other one out. I do not have to. Adrian goes to 19. Plays a Delver. I'll try and kill it into turn if I'm capable. Which does play into a spell stutter here, but probably worth it. Yeah, I take the bait.
I'm not so sure if that's always bait, but...
Well, if he has a spell stutter, it's pretty bad for me. Unless I have Electricity next turn, I guess then it's pretty sweet. But I guess that's still a 2 for 2 or 1 for 1. Oh, yeah. Banging myself with my cards.
Yeah, nervously flicking here, trying to figure out.
Yeah, I have a habit of like looking over my cards, so I don't know.
All right.
I'm super nervous to be playing against Bronze Level Pro Aaron Rubin.
Going deep in the tank on this.
I'm probably trying to think of how to best sequence my stuff. Like Core Skyfish is probably good. Maybe I'm playing around Counterspell here, but I am representing Pyroblast with this red mana. So if he does have Counterspell, I think I do counterback. He does, and I do. Just getting that on the battlefield is very strong for me. I have another Boros Garrison. So I'm actually, like, Aaron's kind of behind now. Being able to resolve that... Of course, Skyfish was good. Aaron, of course, is now representing Bolt or Scred, so that's pretty bad for me. Well,
Bolt or Scred with Counterspell backup, like, all right, there's that Scred.
Yeah, I can't do anything about a Scred.
All right, getting that Prism. Now, at this point, I've got to imagine that you're just looking to draw into something to actually create a clock here.
Yeah, and I got a bunch of Thraben Inspectors, which is a fine card. Thraben Inspectors is a good card. Probably not at its strongest versus Delver.
All right, cracking one of those clues, trying to dig into something else. All right, you now do have a 9-turn clock. Better than nothing. All right,
Aaron
Gush.
Gushes. Sure.
Let's see if we can find something here.
Gushing with nothing on the board is worse, but you know, it's still so good. He uses 2 floating mana to cast an Augur. I would love to have Pyroblasted this. Aaron whiffs. That's huge.
That is. It's still gonna, you know, at least tie up some of your attacking, and that Stormbound Geist actually. Yeah,
unless I have, I have a Journey right there. So I have a Journey. The Geist is gone.
All right, that's good because that thing does represent a pretty sizable clock that interacts well with you.
I'm feeling pretty good here. My removal's lining up.
All right, drawing again, digging in even deeper.
Making my land drops is just so good. I end up bolting that, which I think on this board is fine.
Yeah,
right?
just trying to get in for damage.
Like last game, I could see there being a huge argument for not playing it that way, but you know, he whiffed on that Augur, so it's just a straight 1-for-1. I am trying to press my board advantage, and I don't want him to get a ninja into play.
You especially don't want him to get a ninja into play and then recast Augur.
There's another Augur, so that's pretty good. He gets a counter spell, so my next turn's pretty key.
Yeah.
6 mana.
Because shields are down for him.
Yeah. So like this is a turn for me to make a big move. And instead I start by cycling off that card. Tap for a white, bounce that back to my hand. I don't know why I did. Oh, I must have done it with the red. Yeah. And then I replay it. So this is not the big turn that I kind of needed.
Although I feel like at this point, with what you've seen out of him, it's fairly safe to say that there's only that one counterspell in hand.
All right, he blocks. Can't really do anything about it. But I do have the Hawk to block. Probably should have not attacked.
Counter.
I can get rid of my Hawk and Ninja. He's got another Augur, so that's pretty rough. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and he hits another counterspell. Okay, that changes things significantly because now if he leaves up 4 blue mana, you just know that he can not only counter something but counter the thing after it.
It's pretty rough.
And so he does have the mana up for 1 counterspell and either a bolt or a scred. So let's see how he plays this.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he counterspells it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're right.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of these situations where he's gaining advantage slowly but surely, and so you are chipping in for damage.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
I'm so flooded here. I would have loved, like, now I'm giving him a chance to use his other spell. I would have loved to have made a play there, like a good play.
That said, he is at 10.
Raven Inspector. That's not exactly the card you want to cast Counterspell on, but it's a great target.
Spell Stutter, yeah.
He's just, in fact, he's going to do that so much. So I go ahead and bolt the Spell Stutter, try and make him use the Counterspell, which he does.
Right. So at least it baited out the counterspell, so you're not worrying about that anymore. He could still have other ways to interact with you. Oh.
Yeah, then I blast it. So yeah, we're fighting really hard over this freaking Thraben Inspector. I think the reason I picked that battle is because if I run him out of resources, then, you know, good for me, and I have an extra creature on the board. I think that was probably my thought line there. Because since he was so willing to fight over it, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have fought so hard, but...
All right, another land. Oh boy.
So yeah, now I wish I had like Sin's Enlistment in my deck or something.
Have you not been playing that anymore?
No, I haven't, because I've been playing the swords, the serrated arrows.
For what it's worth, I still kind of like it just to avoid situations like this, but I get that.
I cast a Journey, and I get rid of an Augur, probably because he's at such a low life total. I should have attacked with everyone in that spot.
All right, so he's down to 5. So that does leave you with a theoretical 1-turn clock if he doesn't have a blocker.
I should have just gotten rid of the Delver there, right?
I think so. I think Delver was actually the correct choice there.
Well, he has to ninja. You know, he doesn't get to keep the flip Delver. So he's at a pretty low life total, you know?
Yeah, 5 is within like burn range. It definitely makes it so he has to play carefully here. Taking a little bit longer with this preordain than usual.
So yeah, he probably has some stuff that he would like to keep, but maybe he's trying to figure out if he has enough time. So he ends up top bottoming, draws his card, preordain hits the bin, and what does he do?
Really going in the tank on this one. I think he realizes that he's in a very precarious situation. While he does have a handful of cards, he needs to do something to make sure he doesn't die here.
He passed the turn. Oh, no, he has a Delver and he passes the turn. I have another Alchemist's Vial. So I have 2 vials. I can make it so we can't block. Do I have lethal on board? I do. So this is a huge mistake then.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. Okay, yeah, he spell
was countering
stutters.
that. I picked up my stuff too fast. That was a huge mistake. I had lethal on board. If I had just made it so his 2 couldn't block, I could have attacked him.
I mean, in that case,
I go for it, but it might be too late.
He still could have done the Sprite.
You're right. He still could have done the Sprite.
Like you didn't have him just dead on board.
But I did need to have that thing get countered. I could have attacked. I should have attacked first. You should always attack first when your opponent's representing Sprite. If I have a burn spell, though, he just loses.
And
I'm not really sure why we were counting against there. So yeah, let's see.
He's trying to figure out how much he can sacrifice here and still be able to get back in this. That Sprite's going somewhere.
I mean, look at this. I'm at 22 and he's at 5. He has like no time.
He's at 2 now.
So yeah,
he's at Firebolt lethal range. Like,
I didn't bring in Firebolt against him.
I know. I'm just saying this is like a very precarious situation for him to be in.
He's in bad shape.
Brainstorm is a good way to dig out of that, though. He's gonna see 3 new cards here. Man, and you still have the vial on there.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I can kill him next turn.
Yeah. I mean that Delver doesn't want to be staying home playing defense, so
He preordains.
Mm-hmm.
Was that bottom? Yeah. Draws his card. And considering his options, leaving up 4 mana, so has represented Spell Stutter and Counterspell, or even Hydroblast, Pyroblast. So I draw for turn, untap. Seems pretty bleak.
All right, going for the hawk.
I don't learn my lesson.
Oof.
That's pretty rough. And I passed the turn. Yeah, wow. I think casting the hawk into those spell stutters are what cost me are going to cost me.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to a board stall against a blue deck that's running Gush. Like, this just doesn't look good. Like, the Skyfisher and Baubles, like, my engine is good.
If I draw a burn spell, I can still win. But yeah, it looks so bad here. because I was able to get those 2 birds countered. I just have to keep passing the turn when I have them at 2 life. Yeah, I attack. Hoping to eat a blocker there. Any blocker. Does not let me eat the Delver. So yeah, now any burn spell is lethal. Aaron has to draw a bunch of counter spells. And my board's not small.
Yeah, I mean,
like, without the spell setter. So he does not attack. If he attacks, I think I triple block.
Yeah, just ooh. Looks like that was a double block, actually.
Yeah. I don't like rewatching myself as much. I see a lot of misplays.
Cycling Cave.
Our next common area, I actually do not play, so I think I will try and refrain from doing so in the future. It's probably pretty, it's weird.
It's a little self-critical.
Yeah. So I'm hoping the common areas going forward will no longer have me in them. I'll just be a disembodied voice. So yeah, he takes the block this time.
All right. And no follow-up. That's the thing. Even just 1 or 2 creatures here would do a world of good for you.
So now, now I can't block. Yeah, so I should have triple blocked. And now it's going to cost me.
Because now there's just there's nothing. There's no way for you to get that damage outside of just burn spells, and at this point he's drawing a card to turn with the ninja. That you gotta imagine he's got some amount of counter spells in hand.
It's rough. Got to pass the turn back. Yeah, so my inaction here is awful. He cycles an Ash Barrens, probably at the end of my turn.
Yeah, that looks like what that is. Grabbing the other mountain. That makes sense.
You'll have 2 burn spells live. Yeah, at this point, the other mountain is safe. I think early on, I think the mountain is tough. And Izzet Delver has a tricky mana base in that it only has the 2 mountain, but I don't know if it could get away with 3. Because you really need the islands more. The mountains are just for kind of the mid-game. But, I could even see, even a hand with no mountains, you might just go ahead and get the second island before you would get the first mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deck that more situationally needs that red mana. It doesn't always need it to be there. It just needs...
Gushes, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... The mana can be a little awkward sometimes. So that's a way. But yeah, at this point, the mountain is definitely the take. Ash Baron showing its worth. Aaron gets in again with the ninja. I'm at 18. Yeah, and my position seems very precarious.
It looks like he almost has a full grip of cards.
And he's got a relic.
All right.
Which prevents me from battle screeching. So Aaron did bring in a sideboard card for that.
And this looks like you're checking to see if it's actually in there at this point.
Yeah.
Now, it does prevent you from doing the second half of Battle Screech.
Right. I still do get the tokens. So he ponders.
And, if he wants you to not be able to cast that thing out of the graveyard, he does have to, at this point, pop the relic. So
I think I'm checking to see how many copies of Bolt, Shred, Counterspell have been played. 3 counterspells. That's probably what I'm most worried about right here. I'm trying to bolt him.
This has to get met with a counterspell, right? It looks like a spell stutter.
Do I have a follow-up? I do. I overload Electrickery. Does he have his 1 Dispel?
Oh boy. Or a Hydroblast.
Or a Hydroblast. So yeah, he takes it out of the graveyard. It's still on the stack. Oh my god.
It looks like he's got it all.
It looks like he's got it all. Hydroblast.
Yup. And this, man, that seemed like it was one of the last outs available.
And I don't have another one.
Oh man, that is just rough.
I did that on my turn. You'll notice because he had used mana. So I was hoping to overload his resources. And, yeah, he just had it all. But he's been drawing so many cards. You know, he must have had it all. If he gets in for 3, he's got another ninja. Yeah, it seems pretty over from this position.
Like, there is an out of still just, like, getting him with the burn, but...
Yeah, but he returned the spell stutter to his hand. So now I need to draw 2 more burn spells at least. I don't have that many. I have 8.
All right, there's Stormbound just upping the clock at this point. He's kind of running up the numbers at this point. Trying to get this just rounded out.
Cast a prism, draw a card. I pass the turn. Yep, he eats another card out of my yard. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, really, there's not even a reason for him to do it. I guess, well, he knows I don't play Mortuary Mire. If I had Mortuary Mire, then that's probably a reason to slowly do it. But even then, once I Mire, you just crack it, right?
Yeah, I think you can stand to leave the 1 mana up out of the, what, 8 mana he has?
Yeah. I mean, there's no loss to him doing it, so, you know, I guess whatever. But yeah, he's able to stabilize. He's drawing so many cards. I'm going to be very hard-pressed to win the game now. He's attacking me for 6. I'm on kind of a 3-turn clock.
You're on a 3-turn clock, assuming he doesn't hit anything else.
I can also block, you know? So, yeah, blocking the ninjas is bad with my card.
I mean, it's not where you want to be, but you might...
I don't want to be in the position where I have to block. I can take... Now I can block next turn to live. No, he is lethal on board now.
Yeah. And Delver. All right, let's see.
This doesn't matter, I don't think.
You got anything here?
Serrated
arrows. Yikes, that's not...
It resolves. I raise my fist in defiance. I kill the Delver, but yeah, he is lethal on board, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Even just cracking the relic just to get that extra card, make sure he's got this.
Yeah.
Man.
I could block and live if he's nothing. He's screwed.
Not anymore.
He's exactly. Yeah, that's game.
Yeah, I'm not...
Well, I could try and bolt him. My last gasp of defiance, and he has all 4 spell stutters. What? Oh, that's a counter. He has a counter spell.
Just revealing it to make sure you know.
Yeah, so that was rough. It looked like the game was unlosable from my position, and I lost. That's part of the power of his deck. And I think that my early game was pretty good. I definitely misplayed on those Glint Hawks. That was, I think, pretty huge. Now I hope we'll show what exactly we sideboarded. But yeah, I think that was a pretty fun match to commentate. It's pretty interactive. It's pretty grindy. We got 3 solid games. I can see where I misplayed. Yeah, and here we show what we took out. So we took out his miscreants, and it looks like 1 ninja.
I think those are fair things, and then we're gonna see what you altered.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, everyone. This is before we took a lot of the feedback, so it's possible. I'll show my stuff here. I like to think I do, though. Yeah, it looks like he brought in a Dispel, Electrickery. I brought the Pyroblast, the Electrickery, extra Pyroblast, extra Pyroblast. So that's kind of what I talked to you about. And I probably took out my 3 Monarchs. I know for sure I took out my 3 Monarchs.
And it looks...
You can see more of what Aaron's got. Aaron brought in Stormbounds.
Yeah, I mean, this all makes sense. This all tracks. It's all stuff that's valuable in the matchup. And it
doesn't look like I showed what I took out, but I know for sure it was the 3 Monarchs and probably a...
I think I saw a Vial.
Yeah, probably a Vial.
All right, that was a great match. I mean, it's obviously disappointing that, like, it came down to flooding out at the end of the thing, but
No, I made a lot of mistakes. That's not entirely accurate because it was just the flooding out. I do think that I will not commentate my own games in the future, like I mentioned, and I in fact don't even know who the winners from the next couple videos from we did the most recent time are going to be. So I think that's going to be a lot more fun. And we'll have the overlay on this video. I know I've said it a couple times. I'm pretty excited. Mike, anything you want to add before we take them out of the show?
no, I think this was a great match to watch, and I'm excited to do the next batch.